Banu Israel. They can no longer earn Allah's mercy. What punishment is now waiting for them? Allah speaks again in Surah Al-A'raf, and He declares, وَإِذْ تَأَذَّنَ رَبُّكَ لَيَبْعَثَنَّ عَلَيْهِمْ إِلَى يَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ مَنْ يَسُومُهُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. And your Lord has announced that He is now going to raise against them those who will inflict upon them until the last day the worst possible punishment. When the Quran speaks, you better listen. Who are those who are now going to be raised? Who will now continue in their struggle until the end of history, and who will inflict upon Banu Israel the worst possible punishment. Who are they? The Quran itself answers and tells us about the first. There are two of them. Two who will be raised. I now come to Surah Al-Anbiya, and there are two verses. It is somewhere around 94, 95, 96. And I would urge you when you go back home to go find these two verses in Surah Al-Anbiya. Anbiya is number 21, Surah number 21. Allah speaks about a town, which He destroyed. And the people were expelled from that town. And then they were banned from returning. They could come back as tourists, that's okay, but they cannot come back to reclaim that town as theirs. Until and unless Gog and Magog are released. And when they are released, they spread out in every direction. Then these people will be brought back to reclaim that town. Let us quote the Arabic. وَحَرَامٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا فُتِحَتْ يَأْجُوجُ وَمَأْجُوجُ وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. Question 1. Which town is it? Question 2. Gog and Magog. The Prophet said, Gog or Ya'juj is an ummah of Banu Adam. So they're human beings. He said, Ma'juj is an ummah of Banu Adam. So Gog and Magog are human beings, just like you and I. However, Gog and Magog differ from you and I because of a hadith in Sahih Muslim, Hadith al-Qudsi, in which Allah says, I have created creatures of mine so powerful that none but I can destroy them. And so when they are released, Gog and Magog, with their indestructible power, they'll take control of the world. They will establish the world order of Gog and Magog. And since their power is indestructible, only Allah can destroy it, it would appear to Francis Fukuyama that this is the end of history. When Gog and Magog are released, then they will use their power, their control over the world is spread out in all directions. And now you will see the people of this town being brought back to the town to reclaim it. Which town is it? We have now come to a crucial part of our subject, Jerusalem in the Quran. Then you will see these people being brought back to their town. Not as tourists, to reclaim it. Which town is it? That is the question. Who should answer that question? Let us go to a man named Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. Meaning, let us go to the hadith. Let us look for all the ahadith that there are on Gog and Magog. In 9 books of hadith, there are 58 ahadith. I've gone through all 58 of them. Let us look to see whether there is any town which is mentioned connected with Gog and Magog, which was destroyed by Allah. When we go through all the 58 ahadith, we find only one town mentioned, connected with Gog and Magog. And it was a town which was destroyed by Allah, and it was Jerusalem. Of course, the hadith does not have the word Jerusalem, it has the word Baitul Maqdis, the Arabic word. And so we have come to the conclusion that the town which is mentioned in Surah Al-Anbiya is Jerusalem. And so what the Quran is saying, according to our interpretation, is that Allah destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed therefore the state of Israel, expelled the Jews from the Holy Land, and then banned their return. They can come back as tourists, yes, but they cannot come back to reclaim the Holy Land, unless and until Gog and Magog are released. And when they are released, they spread out in all directions, therefore they take control of the world, and therefore the world order will be the world order of Gog and Magog, and that world order will make possible the return of Banu Israel to the Holy Land. Who are Gog and Magog? Good question, eh? Good question. When we have the lecture on Surah Al-Kahf, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow at Darul Arqam at 5 o'clock, we will deal with this subject in greater detail. But for the purposes of today's lecture, in order to identify Gog and Magog, we must look for a people who are responsible for bringing the Jews back to the Holy Land. Who are they? A people who are obsessed with the Holy Land. Who are they? I want you to look at Europe. After the time of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Because Gog and Magog are released in the lifetime of the Prophet himself. The Prophet. 8 ahadith in Sahih Bukhari. 8. One event narrated in Sahih Bukhari 8 times. That Gog and Magog were released in the lifetime of the Prophet himself. So we have to look for a people after Muhammad ﷺ who are obsessed with the Holy Land. Europe became Christian. And that Europe is now obsessed with the Holy Land and engages in what even Singapore would know about, the Crusades. But they are the only Christians who want to liberate the Holy Land. None of the other Christians. Go do your homework, you'll see. Only European Christians want to liberate the Holy Land in the Crusades. And so we say to you, Singapore, that the Crusades were not an essentially Christian effort to liberate the Holy Land. No. The Crusades were an essentially European effort camouflaged in the clothes of Christianity to liberate the Holy Land. And then one Sunday morning, a strange thing happened. Some of the Europeans became Jews. I thought you had to be born as a Jew. You had to be from the seed of Abraham. But strange things happening. And these Jews, they also have an obsession with the Holy Land. They establish a movement called the Zionist movement. And the mission of the Zionist movement is to liberate the Holy Land and bring the Jews back to the Holy Land. But the strangest thing of all is, these are the only Jews who want to do that. The other Jews, who are not European, they are not a part of this. And so I have something to suggest to you, that the Zionist movement is not an essentially Jewish movement. The Zionist movement is an essentially European movement camouflaged in the dress of Judaism. And so it is Europe all along who is obsessed with the Holy Land.